You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney Theme Parks podcast. And this is show number 379 for Sunday, the 26th of September, 2021.
Where dreams begin.
Well, hello and welcome to this week's Disney Dream Girls. My name is Michelle Young, and together with my jolly good chum Jayne Phipps, we are your guides to the place or places where dreams begin. Hello there, Jayne.
Hello there, Michelle. And how are we this fine week?
Do you want the podcast answer or do you want the truthful answer?
We're going to live in podcast fantasy land. That's what we're going to do.
Oh, everything's tickety-boo fantasy land. Wonderful then, Jayne.
You and me both, Michelle.
You know, everything's just, a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. I don't know where that came into my head. Somebody give me some medicine. I need medicine. I'm struggling.
Let's just say everything's rosy, shall we?
It's not rosy. I want to be honest. Jayne. Let's just get this out there.
Okay.
I am approaching October, 10 months since I last got COVID, and I still feel pretty pants. And at times I put a pretty good impression on of someone who's not struggling, but I'm still struggling. And today I had my review with a health practitioner, and I think that sort of tempered my mood a little bit because it was quite an emotional discussion talking about, the health concerns and the health issues I'm still experiencing. So, yeah, but I'm talking Disney, and Disney always makes me happy. It always makes me have a big, massive smile on my face. So I'm so very, very blessed that I get this opportunity to do that with you, my lovely bestie in the whole wide world, and our wonderful, fabulous listeners.
Yeah, it is nice. So, I mean, we do keep in touch, don't we, during the week anyway, but I always feel at these moments in time when we are unfortunately about an hour and a half away from each other, it's not just so easy to give you a big hug, but you know I'm here for you, my darling, and big hugs are going down the telecommunications wire as we speak.
Well, there are worse things in life. I keep reminding myself I am lucky to be here, and I have had many, many blessings. So, I've got to put that into perspective. And, today my biggest dilemma was going to be, should I throw these shoes out or not out? They are my Primark imitation Vans Disney pumps, which cost a staggering £8, but they literally have holes to smithereens all the way through them, but they're Disney and I daren't throw them out.
Yes, I must admit, I'm just going slightly off kilter, but I was kind of debating whether or not I have a favourite pair of trainers that, again, are Primark special. I think these may have cost me £12 though, Michelle, Oof. So a little bit more, I know, pushing the boat out. And I actually debated going onto eBay to see whether or not there was any size 6s out there that I could purchase, because I love these trainers to death and they are so comfy. For £12, they were an amazing buy, but they are starting to look a little bit, shall we say, sorry for themselves, but I will get every last moment out of those. So, yeah, good old Primark.
My name is Michelle, and I am a Disney Primark fan, and when I saw these pumps for sale last time, I didn't just buy one pair. I bought 2, just in case when this day came, I had a new pair to wear.
The scary thing is, Michelle, I have done that in the past as well.
What the pair of us are like, I don't know, my lovely. Anyway, so at the moment, it's September, it's getting towards the 50th, that is creeping up on us so quickly. It's so exciting.
Very,
and at the moment I'm living vicariously through our wonderful friends Stephen Klimowska and Marla Chan, who are both in Walt Disney World. Our friends Scott and Tracy have joined up over in Walt Disney World as well. You never know, at some point they might have a big super meet. But I must just say, Stephen Klimowska, you win the internet this week. Do you know what he did?
Go on. I have been trying to keep up with him. It's been quite hard, actually, to be fair.
He went to the Halloween Bash, the after-hours event at the Magic Kingdom. He paid somewhere around £170 for his ticket.
Ouch.
And he took with him a pull-along suitcase and he filled it up with soda. And I asked him how many sort of bottles he got. He says, I reckon I got $108 worth of soda in that backpack. So that his entrance to the Boo Bash was about, what, $60 odd. And he said, the only thing was, is I had an absolute ton of candy, but in my haste to get off the boat late at night, I left it on the boat.
No! Oh no. Mind you, I have got visions of Stephen stood on a corner somewhere trying to sell bottles of soda. An inflated price, you know.
I know. I would have thought if he would have escaped with the candy intact, I think he would have left that evening in credit, regardless of the fact he's had an evening's entertainment at the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah. Bless him. That's the way to do it. I must admit, I did see the photo with the rolling bag. I thought, what are we up to?
I know a number of people said, was it because he put the candy in the bag? No, he was on soda action, because the soda, obviously, you're looking at 5 bottles of pop, really, aren't you?
Yeah.
For pop.
Yeah. Pop.
Pop goes the weasel. Anyway, we have got some awesome content for you this week. We are going to celebrate and cheer because Carnation Cafe over in Disneyland has opened.
Yeah, it feels like a long time coming, doesn't it?
So we'll be talking about that, and we'll be talking about Space 220 over in Walt Disney World. But before we do, Jane, I gather you have some history for us.
I have a few little bits and pieces, yeah. So obviously September the 26th. This is probably one of the oldest ones I've ever done. 1898. This is a birth date. This is for the composer and pianist George Gershwin. So obviously we all know George Gershwin, don't we? And obviously the connection would be Rhapsody in Blue, which was featured in Disney's Fantasia 2000. But then I found there's like a little bit of a, you know how you do these on these days in history, and they give you like a little bit more information. I just thought this was really cute. And I'm kind of intrigued now as well. So George Gershwin, with his brother, Ira, obviously wrote many, many famous and beloved songs for Broadway, etc. But in 2010, Walt Disney Records released Brian Wilson Reimagines Gershwin. Just go with this. An album consisting of covers of 10 of George and Ira Gershwin's songs by Beach Boys co-founder Brian Wilson. I am now intrigued because I can't imagine what a Beach Boy version of Gershwin's songs sounds like. So that's going to be on my to-do list for the weekend, is try and figure that one out.
Off you go on that one, lovely.
See, this is what happens when you do a bit of research. You find out things that you're not really sure whether you wish you found out or not. But anyway, we're going to whiz through now from 1898 all the way through to the 2000s. And in fact, we're going to go all the way through to 2008. And this is a sad day, this one. Paul Newman passed away at the age of 83 on this day in 2008. So we have to mention Paul Newman because he's Paul Newman. So, you know, why not? Obviously, he did the voice of Doc Hudson in Cars, and also in the short Mater and the Ghostlight. And I didn't realise, but Disney Pixar actually has sponsored one of Newman's race cars at the Rolex 24 at Daytona in 2005 as well. But again, reading this, you come across little nuggets of information. And we all know that he actually had his own food company, Newman's Own. There's a little quote from Paul Newman. The embarrassing thing is that the salad dressing is outgrossing my films.
Oh, bless him.
Which I thought was really quite sweet, really. I don't know why. But anyway. And then I'm just going to do a couple of little more. But these are from the following day because there wasn't an awful lot happening on September the 26th. So I delved into September the 27th. And I'm going to kind of say relatively recent, 1993. Okay. So this is over at Epcot. And I thought it's quite topical because it's about Listen to the Land, as it was known then, because obviously we had a little bit of downtime of this ride just recently. So Listen to the Land boat ride and the Tomorrow's Harvest tour, which were both in the Land Pavilion, were to close. Now, Listen to the Land then reopened in December of 1993 as Living with the Land. And this has answered a question for me, because I've always called it Listen to the Land, because when I first experienced this ride in 1991, and 92 and 93, because I went 3 years back to back, it would have been Listen to the Land. And I have this dialogue always going through in my head that relates back to this ride. And I hadn't really kind of consciously recognised it wasn't called Listen to the Land anymore, and it's actually called Living with the Land, which just goes to show that Jayne doesn't really pay as much attention as she should do.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah. So yeah, there's my little bits of daft Disney history.
Well, thank you so much for sharing, researching and finding out about that.
Pleasure.
I want to start then with what I mentioned at the beginning, was a little bit of chat about Carnation Cafe.
Yeah, one of your fave places, isn't it?
I absolutely love this because it's, if you get there and you get an outdoor seatery, you can just sit and watch Main Street USA evolve and happen around you. You can soak in the sights, the sounds. You'll see Main Street vehicles going up and down. There'll be music, there'll be the hustle, there'll be the bustle, and there'll be delicious, delectable eatables placed in front of your face for you to shovel in.
Shovel in. After that lovely description, you're just going to shovel your food in.
Shovel your food in. It was because I was doing something today about the Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, and it's about one of the characters shovelling in the Turkish delight. And I just sort of said to the children, you know, there's no way on heaven's earth I would shovel any Turkish delight. It'd make me run a mile. It's horrible.
But Carnation Cafe, different story.
Absolutely. And Carnation Cafe, it first opens its doors in a slightly different incarnation, on the 17th of July 1955, and it was a very different place. The outdoor seating was formerly the flower market, where you could buy pretend flower arrangements to take home with you. Who would go to a theme park now and buy some really naff fake flowers to take home?
I'm going to say, I've got in my head visions of 1970s plastic flowers, but, you know.
That always your grandma put in the loo to make it look attractive. And they had like 3 years layers of dust on top of them.
Yeah.
We've all got it. And those knitted scary little dolls that covered the toilet rolls, the crinoline ladies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Shall we move on?
Yeah, before I get sued by the makers of crinoline ladies or whatever they're called. And yeah, and I just wouldn't dream of doing that now.
No,
but it took
weird.
up that space for quite a long time. And it was originally the Carnation Ice Cream Parlour. And it sort of evolved outwards, that the parlour's outdoor dining area expanded to fill the West Centre Street, and the flower market moved across the street to East Centre Street before disappearing completely.
Okay.
You can still buy a good old pickle there, though. As my good friend Tommy Allison would have counter to. But anyway, when I was doing a little bit of research about the Carnation Cafe, I found a really super interesting piece of nostalgia.
Okay.
I found a menu.
Oh, what, from like when it was original?
Yeah.
Back in the day? Right.
Yeah. And it's kind of got a Frontierland sort of selection, a Tomorrowland selection, a Fantasyland, Adventureland, and then there's salads, sandwiches, beverages, specialities, pies and cake, and old favourites.
Oh, interesting to have bits themed to the lands.
Yeah, well, Adventureland, you have got a Tahitian sundae.
Okay.
Although, by the scope of things now, I'm not quite sure what makes it Tahitian, with it being 2 scoops of vanilla ice cream with chocolate topping and salted peanuts. I can't think of how that fits in with Tahiti.
No, I'm struggling as well there, yeah.
Yeah. There's a Snow White sundae.
Okay.
Now, obviously Snow White is sweet as sweet could be.
Yeah.
I would imagine maybe some sort of like cinnamony apple in there, you know.
I think we're thinking about this with a 2020s head on and not a 1950s head on.
Yeah, 1950s head, you got marshmallow sundae topped with grated coconut. But to me, the grated coconut would sound so much better on the Tahitian one.
Yeah, that does seem a bit out of place, doesn't it, really?
Yeah. Never guess what they bunged in the Peter Pan sundae.
Oh, well, it's British. I don't know.
All right, let's just ask you this. If Peter Pan was an ice cream flavour, what flavour would Peter Pan be?
Well, I can only think like lime because he's green.
Jayne, what, pistachio's green?
True.
But would you have had that in 1955?
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
Well, Peter Pan, according to Carnation in Disneyland, is chocolate.
Okay,
I never would have put Peter Pan as chocolate. Maybe the idea of flying might make my underpants go brown, but I don't know how else I can link it to chocolate.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be much correlation going on so far, does there?
But that was 2 large scoops of chocolate ice cream, marshmallow topping, chopped almonds and whipped cream.
I'm getting a little bit more adventurous.
Talking of adventure, let's go to the future, or tomorrow land.
Yeah.
We've got a Hawaiian sundae, which is a little bit more exotic than the Tahitian one, shall we just say.
Right.
Vanilla and strawberry ice cream with pineapple, strawberries, coconut, sliced banana and pineapple.
Well, at least it's got pineapple on there. That kind of does fit in with the name.
Yeah, it's 25 cents more than the Snow White sundae. Well, I'm not surprised with all those gubbins on it.
Well, you've got to pay for the fruit somewhere, haven't you?
Yeah. Now, for those with a hungrier appetite, why not have a, ready for the alliteration, Mammoth Matterhorn Mountain?
Ooh, what's in a Mammoth Matterhorn Mountain? I had to really think to say that.
I know. It's one of the world's largest sundaes. Ooh.
Is it really?
No, not really, because the kitchen sink is so much bigger. But in 1955, California, it had 5 scoops of ice cream, sliced pineapple, 5 different sundae toppings, sliced banana, chopped almonds, whipped cream and a cherry for $1.
For $1? Oh my goodness.
I'll have like 20.
You can make your own kitchen sink out of that, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Absolutely. Frontierland has a old time sundae, and this is a treat with peppermint stick ice cream, strawberries, pineapple, whipped cream and a cherry. I do not know how mint is going to go with pineapple.
I was just about to say the same thing. Mint and pineapple. No.
Yeah. That's just a small selection of the ice cream sundaes. There seems to be 20 billion different ice cream sundaes from this ice cream eatery. So, very, very interesting that you could go and order a black cow.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, you could go and order a black cow, which was a root beer ice cream float. And when you think about it, well, root beer is like brownie black.
Yeah.
And some cows
ice cream on top. Yeah.
have sort of like a vanilla sort of, it makes sense that.
Yeah. Well, one does make sense, yeah.
Yeah. There was something called the black and white sundae where you can have chocolate and vanilla ice cream with marshmallow and chopped almonds and whipped cream and a cherry. It's all very marshmallow based, isn't it?
I'm going to say there's lots of marshmallows going along, and at least Michelle, they are doing the right thing by putting a cherry on top.
Absolutely. You could pick up a cheeseburger for 70 cents.
Oh my goodness!
I know.
I know we shouldn't laugh.
Ridiculous.
It just sounds so daft, doesn't it? But obviously, in relation to the times, yes.
Yeah. Now that was back then. What's on the menu now? Well, sadly, the menu has been basically shrunk.
Oh no.
Breakfast, you've got 5 adult meals.
Okay.
You've got the breakfast skillet.
Yeah.
Buttermilk pancakes.
Yeah.
Breakfast sandwich.
Right.
Plant-based overnight oats.
I'm all right, thanks.
And a Mickey-shaped waffle.
Happy.
Now, the waffle, I will say, on the menu, it does not mention that beautiful, succulent strawberry sauce that you could put on top of it. It's just sausage or bacon.
Oh, okay. That's
and
unusual.
it's gone up to $15 as well.
Ah, right.
There's the kids menu as well, where you could get smaller pancakes and smaller waffles and Mickey-shaped scrambled eggs. So that's still available. So that's something.
Yeah.
if you're moving on to eating at another time of the day, there is still the classic things you would expect. You're still able to get Walt's chili, which is a nice big sort of like hearty cup of chili with sour cream and chives and a cornbread garnish. You can still get the fried pickles, the baked potato soup, a couple of salads. You can of course get the cheeseburger. Oh, classic, amazing. There's club sandwich, braised shortbread, chicken fried chicken, which is the mashed potatoes, vegetables and country bacon gravy, plant-based burger and a fish. So you've got plenty to go at with the lunch. It just seems to be that the dinner's just been sort of cut back a little bit.
Yeah, I suppose this has been what we've been seeing though with a lot of restaurants, though, isn't it? That element of when they've been reopening, and whether it's just a slow start whilst they get the feet back on the feet, or I think that'll be the interesting thing going forward, isn't it? Whether these places go back to the bigger menus that they've once had, or whether they keep a bit more scaled back. Yeah, interesting.
I think until they get the staffing situation sorted, Jayne, I think it's going to be keeping it simple in certain places.
Yeah, I think they kind of they've got no choice really, have they?
Yeah. Let's hop on over to Walt Disney World, and over at Walt Disney World, Space 220 restaurant opened in the last few days. And we were talking a little bit off air, and I think the pair of us have got slightly different viewpoints.
Maybe.
Now, for me, if you want to go and see images of Earth from 220 miles above, you either save up and become an astronaut. 2, make do with Google Earth. Or 3, have a go on the attraction in Epcot. Sorted. Job done. But if you want to pay, in my opinion, a lot of money for an experience with dining, there is that option. Because I am saying this out loud, guys. It's $55 for lunch, $79 for dinner. Lunch is 2 courses, dinner is 3 courses. I personally think that is a lot of money to spend when I'm dining in a theme park. I don't mind it if I'm going like to the boathouse, I'm all dressed up and it's a special romantic thing. But for me, I don't tend to eat romantic in the theme park because I tend to be there in August and sweat tends to sort of like melt off my face during the day, and I'm in theme park clothes, and it's not for me.
No, the ambience is sport in that respect, isn't it? A little bit. Yeah.
You know, unless I get all dolled up and melt on my walk through all the way to the back of Epcot to go on the attraction, I don't know.
Yeah, I must admit, I mean, you know me, Michelle, our eating habits tend to be very much counter service when we're in the parks anyway. So I'm in agreement with you on that respect, in the fact that to go and pay that sort of cash in a theme park, yeah, it's either something you do or something you don't, I think, in that respect. What I will say is, having watched a couple of little vloggy type videos in the last 24 hours, I was actually quite impressed in some respects and not so much in others. So I kind of like the elevator idea, this whole thing about, you know, it's creating a visual effect of you travelling up to these 220 miles when you're not obviously moving. And I think it's because I kind of hark back to the days of the Seas Pavilion, where you used to have the hydrolators, and it would create that feeling of movement when you knew you weren't actually, you think you'd gone about 6 inches or whatever. So I kind of like that call back to that in some respects. Yeah, there's a whole bit where you walk through and they've got the spinning cabbages. I'm not quite sure what that's about. You can, you see the way over the Land Pavilion, you see the ways that produce is now grown to in different ways to suit different circumstances. So you've already got that somewhere else. I'm not quite sure why it needed to be there, other than the fact that you're going to a restaurant, because surely the whole point is that you're actually going up to this space station where there happens to be a restaurant. couple of cool things I did quite like was, they have the big screens where they're showing you all the outside bit. There was a piece where there was like some sort of collection of starships, shall we say, and it was in a Mickey shape, which was quite cute. They've got a space dog and an astronaut flying by at one point. Apparently, there are little Easter eggs to look out for, paying homage to different sci-fi genres and things like that. So I think that would be interesting as time goes by to see how that pans out. Apparently, the view of Earth that you see will reflect the time of day that you're actually up there. Mm-hmm. And likewise, when you come back down, in air quotes, in the elevator coming back to Earth, that trip down reflects the time of day that you're travelling as well. So if you've gone up in mid-afternoon and then you come back down and it's, sunset, then you get that difference in effect, which I thought was quite cute. The seating and what have you inside looks quite basic-ish, considering it's high-endy. And the music that was playing in the background, I said to Simon, it reminded me of that background music that you used to get walking around Future World. That sort of synthy pop sort of ambient sort of thing that's kind of just verges on the point of being annoying, but maybe never quite get annoying because you're always walking through it. I'm not sure if sitting there for an hour and a half or however long your meal's going to take you, how annoying that may or may not get. The food that I saw looked decent. The couple of blogs that I was seeing, they were giving it decent reviews. I think some of the names they've chosen for some of the dishes are a little bit cringy.
Yeah. Will this get watered down like Galaxy's Edge eateries did? And because people don't really know what the names are. I suppose they've done something like slow rotation, short rib, so people can sort of think, it's a short rib, fine.
Yeah.
But maybe the slow rotation might sort of get removed.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, I think it's just the fact that, on the kids menu, they've got spaghetti. And it's like, is that the best you could come up with? I mean, that's the sort of thing I come up with as a passing joke when I'm trying to be overtly cheesy. It's like a dad joke, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, but is it going to be that thing of how long will those names stay in place for when the servers get fed up of having to explain what each item is on the menu, I suppose. But yeah, the food from what I saw, looked quite nice and tasty, and it was getting good comments and good marks from those people that were there eating and viewing it. But again, it's that thing like you said, Michelle, is if I'm going to a theme park, I'm not sure I want to be spending an hour, 2 hours in a restaurant, because that's, to me, is, I'm paying extra obviously to do that privilege, whereas actually I'm a bit more of a 20 minutes grab and go type of girl and get the full experience of the park itself. But I was quite impressed with the little touches, that the theming that they've done on the restaurant, although say potentially some niggles in there as well. Be interesting to see how the reviews come out.
We shall see. I've seen, as I say, you've seen it, I've seen it. I've seen some lovely pictures. I've heard some people saying about the things such as at lunch, there's the most amazing burger. That was really, really delicious. I just think maybe the dinner might be the better way. I don't know. I just think it's really, really, really quite pricey for an in-theme park experience come meal. And there's a lot of things on the dinner menu where it's set at $79, and for example, you can have a bang bang burrata, which is a really big chunk of mozzarella served with some beautiful accompaniments, and then you could add on things, and some of the things you can add on, such as the Blue Moon cauliflower or chicken on waffles, is like $18. So this, they're trying to upscale and upcharge you the whole time.
Yeah, and it's like you're going to add drinks on as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and then if you want the filet mignon, Add shrimp, $9. Add half a lobster, $15.
Yeah.
You know, it's that classic upsell. Or if you wanted a 24-ounce bone-in ribeye, it's another $18 because it's a supplement. Or if you wanted the whole lobster stuffed with jumbo crab, it's $20. You know, so it's, you know, and then you've got your desserts. So I'm not going to complain about desserts. I think they look amazing. I just don't think it's a place that's going to get me in, because if I wanted to have a chicken on waffles experience in a theme park, I'd go to somewhere that sold that.
Yeah,
rather than going to a high-end restaurant. And if I wanted to have a lovely, amazing steak, I'd be going for somewhere that's got that steak reputation, you know, and there are plenty of those places in Walt Disney World.
No, absolutely. I'm in agreement with you, Shell. And it's like, you know, just daft things like if you go at lunch, it's just 2 courses. So if you want to have a dessert, then you're going to have to pay extra for it. So, you know, like you say, it's that thing of there's your starting price. And that's what I think you've got to remember, isn't it? That those prices that have been quoted for that fixed menu are your starting prices, because if you want to deviate off it, you're going to have to be paying more. And then again, I think like we just said, it comes back down to, can you get similar for a better price elsewhere on property? And you might well be able to.
Right, lovely. One last thing before we finish off this week's show. We'll do this in a sort of like quickish fashion, because it could lead into a future show's discussion. There's been a sort of trend over the last couple of years where Walt Disney World, Disneyland are looking at their attractions and making them more in line with the 2021 way of thinking.
Yes. That's a very, very nice way of putting it.
Yeah. Hi, Red. You're a little bit more politically correct now. It's no longer a slave auction. And obviously, Splash Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, it's going to be changed.
Yeah.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah. Change is happening over at Disneyland, isn't it?
Now, those of you who have ever been to Disneyland Paris or seen a photograph of the character of Jessica Rabbit will know what I am talking about, because she is the scariest character Disney has ever created. She's probably on the same level as 1955 Mickey Mouse on scariness. It is horrific.
Mm-hmm.
But in the attraction, there's a scene where there's the car, there's the trunk open. I used American there. Ooh. And she's basically tied up and shoved in the back.
Yeah.
Well, she was.
Ain't no more.
She's not anymore. And it's sort of like changing her role a little bit to being a detective. And she's been a little bit covered up by wearing a raincoat.
Yeah, it's a peculiar one, isn't it? Because obviously she was very much portrayed in the movie as this sexy siren sort of role. But I always thought she was played very much that she wasn't a bimbo. She had got a good mind about her, and she knew what she was doing, and probably had the smarts and was playing it to her advantage. That's probably quite difficult to translate into a theme park ride, though.
Yeah, true. Very difficult.
So you can understand why those changes are being made, because we don't want to be objectifying women or making them out to be helpless individuals, which I'm guessing is why this has been changed.
It's all very difficult, and things are going to be changing. Things are always going to evolve. Viewpoints change. I've been on this planet for a fair while, and I have seen so many different ways of thinking about things, and things sort of going sort of full circle in some ways. And I think in our theme parks, especially Disneyland, that has been operating for such a long time, there are going to be things that they're going to go back in and think, is this appropriate? Is this right? I just think it's a balance of, are we being a little bit too oversensitive?
Yeah, I think, and we've said this, I think, before, Michelle, on the podcast, that element of you have to take into context when something was created and what was acceptable at those particular times, and then how it translates. Now, unfortunately, you're going to have to ensure that the public understand that. Now, if the public are not aware that a insert name of license was created in 1930 whatever or 1950 whatever, then if they're just viewing it in 2021's eyes, then you can understand how it may appear to them if they don't understand the history. And I suppose this is the battle that Disney have got to somehow wrangle. I'm very much, I like to know the history of something, and I like to know where it's generated from, and I can appreciate. I have enough about me to understand it was done in a certain way at a particular time. It may not be the politically correct way now, but I understand that difference. I don't want to say playing to the lowest common denominator, because I don't mean it like that. But it is a case of they're having to find a level playing field that will hopefully appease everybody. Because unfortunately, people tend to shout a lot now if something isn't perceived to be correct, and it's not always the masses that are shouting, but just maybe a few voices that are extremely loud, and most companies tend to give in to those few but loud voices. Jayne says, trying to skirt around something very politically diplomatically.
Yeah, no, I agree. Anyway, it is not for ours to reason why or where, or, we can just give our little 2p worth of our viewpoints, and at the end of the day, it's just our viewpoint. We'd love to hear your viewpoints on anything, everything that we talk about. Get in touch, engage with us. We love hearing from our family, our wonderful listeners that make it all worthwhile for us. You know how to do this. Twitter and Instagram @DisDreamGirls. Email info@DisneyDreamGirls.com. There's our Disney Dream Girls podcast family over on Facebook, where everyone shares their love of Disney and what they're up to in the world of Disney at the moment. I know myself, I might be asking the family for some advice about thinking tentatively about what should I do in 2022. What's everybody's viewpoint on actually being brave and booking a trip from the UK to the US? We shall see. Anyway, lovelies, we will be back next week with some more Disney Dream Girls chat and fun and hopefully entertainment. But until we are, it's a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.